Hey y'all, Levi Jones, founder and head coach of Guerilla Realty, and this is going to be a quick video on how to generate leads with Google Ads. And I'm not talking about spending thousands on pay-per-clicks that may not ever convert. This is a repeatable, simple Google Ads setup that produces inbound calls like the one I got just last week from a landowner who said, "Hey Levi, I saw your profile. We just inherited some land from our parents and we want to sell. Can you help?" It was that easy. That kind of lead is what I'm talking about. And it doesn't cost thousands of dollars. And I'll go through a full breakdown on our results at the end. But this is the absolute best way to generate leads from Google Ads. Remember, Guerilla Realty is an actual real estate team operating out of North Carolina, and we've actually tested the ideas we teach. So this isn't a theory. We do a full webinar on this strategy, and you can access it for free by clicking the link in the description. It includes the Google Profile Optimizer and the full step-by-step guide on optimizing your Google profile and getting regular reviews so that you'll be eligible for local service ads, as well as links to all the tools you need to get set up. All right, let's start with your Google My Business profile because this is really the foundation. If this isn't set up correctly, you're not even showing up for the people already searching for an agent like you, and you definitely aren't getting the handful of leads that are available. All right, first things first, you got to have a Google business profile. Now, many of you already do, but if you don't, or if you don't really know how to access your Google business profile, you're going to go to business.google.com/add, ADD. And it's going to bring up this page right here. You can type in your business name. It'll immediately bring you to the profile. And if you have not ever set one up before, you can add your business to Google right here. Now, once you've set it up, it'll look something like this when you go to your claimed business. And so this allows you to edit the profile, the photos. You can even add posts. You can see your performance, how many clicks. Now, here's the reality. Your average Google profile, unless you're directly sending traffic to it, probably gets less than 50 clicks a year. However, it's something that you already have out there. So you might as well have it optimized to generate leads, even if it's just a few over the course of a year, because it takes just a few minutes to set up. And we're going to, we want to generate whatever leads we can. It's the theory of marginal gains here. So there's really three things that we want to focus on when it comes to optimizing the Google profile. First things first, we want to optimize it for SEO. So you'll notice we have this Google Profile Optimizer tool. Again, this is included in the Google webinar that's in the description. There's a link to it in the description. It's the full webinar, includes everything, including this link. But you're going to include a bio that is keyword rich. So it's going to have your city, the fact that you're a real estate agent, what kind of services you offer, etc. It's also going to have what to name your profile. So typically you want to keep it pretty simple. You want to have your name and what company name, particularly if you're with one of the big box brokerages that already does a bunch of advertising and that people might be searching for in your area. So once you have it SEO optimized, then we want reviews. Again, the Google Profile Optimizer tool is going to help you with that. We also have a tool called TrustBuff, which I'll link in the description. TrustBuff is a simple tool for helping you collect 5-star reviews. Again, you don't want the chance of having a 1-star or a 3-star put in there, or even a well-meaning 4-star. Really, you want 5 stars or nothing on there on the reviews. And again, the Profile Optimizer tool is going to include exactly how to do that with the webinar. I'm not going to go through that today. You may already even have some reviews, but to set up the next part of this, you are going to have reviews. Now, here's the third part. You want to have your profile optimized for lead capture. And when I say lead capture, when we put a link to a website, we don't want to have it go to a random real estate site that you may have. We want to be able to actually capture the customers there. So the final piece in terms of lead capture is the phone router. Okay, so I'm going to show you with our Pipeline Pro Tools system how I would set up our Google profile page. Again, this is our pipeline. This is our flagship product. You do not have to have this to optimize your Google profile. In fact, in the optimizer tool, there is a landing page template that you are welcome to use. It doesn't capture quite as well, but it's typically going to be much better than sending the traffic to an app, your normal real estate website. So let me go Pipeline Pro Tools. We go to Pages. I'm going to set up a page template, and we have different page templates depending on what profile you're trying to optimize for. But we have a Google profile, and we're going to go ahead and set that up. And basically, it's going to look something like this. It looks like it's native to Google. It has all the right colors, the same typeface, etc. And it's specifically designed to capture the traffic that hits that site. So it has call to action for searching properties and what's the home's worth. And then it tells what area that I am covering. Again, this is going to capture at roughly a 35% rate. Now, what that means is if you get 50 clicks over the course of a year, you might get 10 to 15 leads from your profile. I have my profile out there anyways. I might as well generate a few leads from it. Okay. It's not going to change your business overnight, but it is going to be, again, incremental gains. If you're sending it to an average real estate website, you're probably capturing less than 1% of the traffic. And so that means if you have 50 clicks over the course of a year, you're generating nothing. That's probably what you're used to, right? So having an optimized landing page is very important here. Here's the other thing that I set up is I set up a phone router tool. So we go to the router section, and I have a phone router set up specifically for Google local service ads so that basically when someone calls this number, it forwards to my cell phone. And in the meantime, it always captures the lead. This is very important because you're going to get calls in the middle of the night sometimes. You're going to get people who call and hang up. I always want to know when I have that lead, regardless of whether or not I'm actually able to take the call. This is kind of like very high speed, high converting caller ID here. Again, not completely necessary, but when we implemented the phone router, our leads 2x'd. And this is especially important for the next step, which is the local service ads. The final piece of the puzzle is the photos. Most agents fill this photos with a bunch of random images of blah listings and things like that. You want to keep it really simple. You want to have a headshot, and then you want to have your social proof image. Now, what do I mean by social proof? It should include your reviews. It should include, well, that's not even showing here. I'll show you what the social proof image is. You could see the small version, but basically this social proof is going to include your reviews on various sites like Google, Facebook. It's also going to include the big brands, as well as the brands that you're associated with, whether it's NAR, MLS, etc. You're going to borrow the trust, which ultimately allows you to get more engagement on your Google profile. Now, once your profile is dialed in, the next step is local service ads. And this is where you can start showing up at the very top and getting high intent inbound calls from people ready to take action. All right, so local service ads, if you're not familiar, are when someone types in something like real estate agent near me, realtor near me, and you have these sponsored real estate agents. Now, these are all people who have been verified. Their businesses have been verified by Google. They've been screened by Google, and you can be among them. And what's cool, and I'm showing you this on a desktop, but most searches are actually done via mobile now. So instead of a get phone number that brings this little thing up and allows it to make a phone call from your phone, it actually just has a call button. And this would ring this agent directly. Now, I'm not going to do that on this because I don't want to spend their money. I'm not in the market for a real estate agent right now. However, when you go to ads.google/local services, you're going to be asked to verify your business. And in fact, what's interesting is that my insurance is recently lapsed. But they're lapsed, and so I've had to resubmit it, and it's verifying right now. But you're going to input your E&O insurance. You're going to put in your billing information. It's going to ask you to do a background check. You have to put in a headshot. You have to optimize your Google profile, which we've already done at this point. And then you have to put in your real estate license. It seems like a lot, but it's just a few documents that you probably already have available to you, and you're just going to upload it. And this is going to, make this club relatively exclusive. And if you need help, they have great customer service. I've been on the phone with them a few different times. And then they're typically going to ask you to verify your business by taking a cell phone video of your office, your address, your signage, etc. If some of those things don't exist, you can still set it up. You just have to call this phone number and they'll go through other verification. It doesn't take very long. It's a fairly simple process. But once you're verified, then you can set up your budget and everything. Now, again, you don't have to spend thousands of dollars. We only need a handful of phone calls to be able to close deals here. We don't have to have thousands and thousands. And it is important to have that phone router tool, just like I had set up on my main Google profile. When people call me, I want to get it at the phone router. I can't tell you how many times I've gotten a call that like immediately hangs up. Now, Google's pretty good about not charging you for that. But what's cool is that as soon as they call, whether Google charges me or not, I immediately capture the lead, name, phone number, etc. So I can follow back up with them. Again, this is literally 2x the number of leads I've gotten on my profile just because of the phone router tool. But you're basically going to put in a bid, how much you're willing to spend per lead. And when we talk about lead, we're not talking about like Zillow leads that you're calling. This is like an inbound phone call of someone who has searched realtor near me, find an agent near me, something like that. And so I have mine set for $55. That's basically the minimum in my market. But your market might be a little bit higher than that. And again, I'm going to go through the budget and the actual results because you may be going, wow, $50 a phone call. But I typically close about 1 in every 3 of these. And so we're talking about $150 to invest for a transaction. Now the math really works for you. You're also going to set your weekly budget. This is the max amount that you could spend per week. For me, I typically get about 2 phone calls a week from this. I've turned it up, I've turned it down. It just depends. Right now, I have it on a relatively minimal settings. Then you're going to set up what kind of jobs that you're willing to do, whether you're a buyer's agent, seller's agent, with you work with first-time home buyers, etc. They're going to use their demographics to help offer you up in searches. Again, you don't have to worry about all of that too much, but here is one setting that you are going to want to pay attention to, and this is the message leads. Now, you may have noticed that you have the option to message these agents as well. I would suggest turning that off and instead only going with the phone calls. The messages are not as high value. They don't convert at the same rate. These are similar to when you get messages from Facebook Marketplace ads. They're probably a little bit more high intent than those. But these are not people that are like, hey, I want to sell my house. Can you help? Or can you show me this property? It's around the corner from me. That's the type of calls that you're getting. But when you get messages, it's not that same human-to-human contact that you should expect. But that's basically it. Once you set up local service ads, then you sit back and just wait for the inbound calls. Like I said, I have a relatively minimal budget, so I get a couple of calls a week. That's not going to light my world on fire, but let me show you the results that I've gotten here in the last 3 months. So what does this actually look like when it's working? Let me show you a real example over a 3-month period so that you can see what kind of results this can actually produce. And I'm going to go through all of the dollars, the cents, cost per lead, everything. So let's talk dollars and cents. We ran a 3-month experiment, so to speak. It wasn't an experiment. It's something we've done for a long time. But this 3-month period, it's not an abnormal 3-month period. It's the last 3-month period. Okay, we ran it for 3 months. We generated 24 leads. Okay, again, it doesn't sound like a lot until you notice what kind of closing rate you have. We had 6 closings from those 24 leads. Now, a couple of those leads happened to be people that were calling, like, I got a cleaner calling me. Hey, do you have any listings of yours that need cleaning? Okay, I just had to politely explain, hey, you just cost me $40. don't call these don't call agents this way anymore. Otherwise, you're going to get a lot of frustrated agents. But the beauty of it is that even though it cost me $40, I still more than made up for my money because of those 6 closings. Now, I'm in a low price market. The average home price in my area is $270,000. So those 6 closings for me resulted in about $1.8 million in volume. Again, 6 closings in 3 months doesn't make me by itself a top producer, but you combine that with the other marketing platforms that I have going on, and now we're talking about regular repeatable volume, especially considering the low amount of work I put into it. Now, what does that 1.86 million result in terms of actual dollars in my pocket? Well, first of all, it cost me about $168 per closing. So when you add in how much I spent per call, and then how many closings I spent about $168. What did I get from that? $56,000 in GCI. Again, the ROI is absolutely unbelievable, especially when you consider how little time I had to spend to just set up local service ads and then kick back and relax and that's why when I get a call from a cleaner that cost me $40, I'm not upset about it. The ROI is unbelievable regardless. That's it. It takes less than 20 minutes to set up, and now you have a Google profile that will bring you leads without any day-to-day effort. I bet you wish you had skipped pay-per-click ads on Google or Facebook a long time ago and instead invested your money on local service ads. It's worth it. Remember, if you want our private webinar on Google Business Profiles, it's in the description below. It'll include everything you need to get started. We'll see you next time.